Get ready for a brand new season of the Man Live It Mancast. In Season 7, we're bringing you Testicular Fortitude, a historical portrait of men with unshakable courage and determination. And Manly Chunks of Wisdom, where we distill the wisdom of great men into practical nuggets that you can apply for your life. And don't forget Ask a Man, where you can ask manlyhood your burning questions, and we'll give you straight up answers. And that's not all. We're diving into the minds of coaches, trainers, survivalists, and experts from all kinds of fields that men should know about. So get ready to be inspired, challenged, motivated like never before. Subscribe, share, and get ready to man the heck up, because the journey begins now. We call it Prison Rules Uno. Okay. And we had like 10 random Uno decks missing half the cards. And so you put them all together. And one of the rules is you shuffle them when you start, and then you don't shuffle the deck for the rest of the game. And then, so your pile of cards is this big. If you put down a 7, you get to trade with anybody, trade hands with anybody that you want.
Okay.
And if you lay down a 0, all of the cards have to move in the direction that you're playing, right? And
okay.
if you have 2 2s, you could lay down 2 2s. If you have 2 7s, you can lay down as many 7s as you have, right? And you can lay them down, and then you can trade cards that many times, right? So it gets really crazy, and everybody gets really mad. And so we started calling it Prison Rules Uno. So there's actually some guys that have spent some time in prison, and we got to introduce them to Prison Rules Uno, and they weren't impressed. Like, where's the shanks?
Most of you have mission statements that all that's happening is you're using them to attract more people that can't pay you. What if we were able to put donors in our statement of mission and include them at the same level we do the population that we serve? They developed board members who evaluated the chief executive and promoted the goals and values of the CEO.
We are uniquely wired. I mean, you've been incredibly successful in your career, and yet I don't want to live your life. I want to live mine. Now, I may be able to learn and glean wisdom and insight from you, but I don't want to model my life after yours. I want to live the life that I've been called to. And so that's where this idea of unlocking greatness comes into play. And then what's super cool is once I figure out who I am, what I'm really good at, and I can begin to heal, then I start to produce the highest levels of achievement in all these areas that I'm focused on.
Oh man, I love just the taste of aftershave and taco meat. Like that combination just really, really gets me going. I would put that on anything, aftershave and taco meat.
We're not worried about making America great again. We're worried about making America swole again. Let's go. And it's me doing a video of me doing curls. And so that's how it started.
I've come to realize that the tools, sales process, sales strategy is easy. It's simple. Everybody has access to them. I try to give those away as much as possible. What truly makes people successful is themselves. And so I try to help them overcome the self-limiting beliefs, the challenges that they face, the wounds that they experience, and ultimately just become the men and women that they've been created to be and leverage those things to achieve the lives of their dreams.
It sounds so simple, and yet work. It takes real work to get there. Even for somebody who's been at it as long as I have, every day is a new learning experience. And I'm glad you're doing it.
Strategic planning happens on a hill in a cabin over the weekend, and the board comes in for the board retreat. And you have flip charts and Post-it notes and Sharpies and highlighters, and people have these wonderful ideas about how you're going to change the world. And the board thinks that they know how you ought to run your nonprofit, even though they have no idea what you actually do day in and day out. And even though their ideas are impossible to implement, but because they came to the board retreat that's about strategic planning, they feel like they need to say something. And so they end up saying something that just puts more work on your plate that's impossible to fund and impossible to deliver. So instead of doing strategic planning, we invite you, just you, and the top 1 or 2, 3 people in your organization to do organizational development, which is a real-time battle plan that assesses where you are now and where you need to be in 3 to 5 years. It helps you understand the real cost of your mission.
I think also what's really important to understand is that, as Kevin pointed out, that the prospecting part can be scary, and I totally get that. But I think that the selling part of it should really be thought of in a completely different way. And when you get into the selling conversations, you should be educating people. That's the point of it. You should be listening, you should be understanding what is going on in their organization and what their needs are, and finding out what those needs, what those opportunities are, and genuinely bringing them the solutions that you have that can help them address those needs and opportunities. And we look at that as educating. And we have a client who said that what you're doing is you're educating to the point of decision. And I think that's just a brilliant way of thinking about it.
Algorithm trying to put out this absurd almost volume of content to say, hey, algorithm, look at me. We're right here. This is why we're important, and this is how we're gathering engagement. But 4 months later, that strategy is being dialed back. We have already successfully completed that part of the strategy to do something different. Now, we could have just as easily just started off with one thing, started off posting for them across over a dozen different platforms that they have, that they own. And we could have just started with that and just kept going with that. And that would have been the easy, lazy way to go about it. But the strategy involved doing the spammy stuff first to add credibility and authority to the stuff that we are now doing. And I think that's key.
The secret to high-performing nonprofit, the secret to your performance at work, is to harness talent. Talent is that natural aptitude, interest, things that are learned quickly by various people that other people find more difficult or can't do. It just comes naturally to them. Harnessing talent is only part of it. Skills have to be developed in order to make that talent extremely useful to the organization. Skills are created by practice, by learning new things. It's the ability to use your talent and to do something very well with high proficiency. The third thing is to apply effort. People can have all sorts of talents, but if they don't work hard to gain proficiency, if they don't persevere and control themselves during times of adversity, they're not apt to ever develop the skills and the talents in a way that serves themselves, helps them understand their purposes, passion, and will be less productive at work. When talent is harnessed and skills are developed and hard work is applied, that's linked with high performance. It's linked with significant impact, results, and achievements. It's linked with individual and team performance effectiveness.
I was in a cult when I was in my early 20s. It was specifically a female-run cult, so ironically, I learned a lot about masculinity in an environment that maybe started out as what feminists would think of as utopia. There's a dark side to everything, and you see what happens when masculinity is dampened or men are turned into kind of happy secondary citizens.
Dude, you got to tell me more about this.
In college, I was already obsessed with personal development because I felt like I had things I needed to fix about myself, right? I was low in confidence. And I caught a TED Talk by the founder. She gave a talk about like connection in like a spiritual kind of pseudo-tantric way. I thought it was very fascinating, talking about like a society run by women where there's no competition and stuff. It just was appealing for me where I was already insecure about my masculinity. So I went in there